The city lights shimmered like broken stars on the rain-soaked streets of downtown Manhattan as Alexander Cole sat alone in the most expensive restaurant in the city. He was the kind of man whose name alone could open doors, CEO of a global tech empire, billionaire before 40, and the very definition of success. Yet, behind that immaculate suit and calm gaze was a hollow silence, one that not even his millions could fill. Tonight, for the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about business. He was thinking about something, or someone, who might just make him feel human again. His assistant had arranged a blind date for him, someone described as a model with beauty and grace. For a man who had everything but love, the idea of meeting someone real, someone warm, felt like a flicker of hope. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. It helps us spread stories that touch hearts like yours. When the restaurant door opened, Alexander looked up, expecting the glamorous figure his assistant had hinted at. But instead, a woman in a simple, faded blue dress stood uncertainly by the entrance, clutching an umbrella dripping with rainwater. Her shoes were worn, her hair damp, and she looked as if she didn't belong in such a luxurious place. The waiter frowned, and the guests turned their heads. Alexander stared, confused. Then their eyes met, and something in her shy, trembling smile made his heart skip. She approached his table hesitantly. "Mr. Cole," she asked softly, almost afraid to speak. He nodded, still bewildered. She sat down, apologizing for being late, explaining that the bus had broken down and she had walked several blocks in the rain. Her voice carried warmth, humility, and a kind of quiet strength that he couldn't quite define. She wasn't the woman he expected, but there was something about her that made him forget what he was expecting at all. As the evening went on, Alexander found himself listening more than speaking, something he hadn't done in years. Her name was Emily. She was a single mother with a 5-year-old daughter named Lily. Her husband had passed away 3 years ago in a car accident, and since then, she'd been working 2 jobs, one at a bakery in the morning and another cleaning offices at night. Her friend had secretly set up the blind date, hoping she'd meet someone kind. Emily had come not expecting anything, but out of curiosity and maybe a small hope for companionship. Alexander couldn't help but notice the contrast between them. His world was made of glass towers, private jets, and billion-dollar meetings. Hers was built on survival, patience, and love for her little girl. Yet, as they spoke, he felt something stirring deep inside him, something he hadn't felt since his mother's death many years ago: empathy. She laughed softly as she told stories about her daughter drawing hearts on fogged windows and pretending they were love letters to heaven. That laughter melted something cold inside him. After dinner, Alexander offered her a ride home. She refused politely, embarrassed, but he insisted. When they reached her neighborhood, he saw the small, crumbling apartment complex where she lived. As she stepped out, Lily came running to greet her. A little girl with messy curls and the brightest eyes he'd ever seen. She hugged her mother tightly, and Alexander stood there, frozen. The little girl looked up at him and said, "Thank you for bringing my mommy home." Her innocent voice pierced the silence like sunlight breaking through dark clouds. That night, Alexander couldn't sleep. He kept replaying her words, her humility, her daughter's smile. He had met countless women, models, influencers, socialites, but none had made him feel like this. There was a purity in her eyes that money could never buy. Over the next few days, he found himself thinking of excuses to see her again. He sent flowers to the bakery, claiming it was for the best coffee in the city. When she called to thank him, he heard laughter in her voice, and for the first time in years, he smiled. Weeks passed, and Alexander began visiting her more often. He'd show up at the bakery early in the morning, helping her carry flour bags or serving coffee just to make her laugh. The regular customers began teasing him, calling him Emily's silent partner. He didn't care. In those few hours with her, he felt more alive than in all his corporate meetings combined. Emily, however, remained cautious. She couldn't understand why a man like him would spend time with someone like her. She'd seen people leave before. She didn't want her daughter to get attached only to be hurt again. One evening, when rain poured again over the city, Alexander visited her small apartment. The lights had gone out, and Emily was trying to fix an old candle holder while Lily colored by the window. Without a word, Alexander took off his coat, rolled up his sleeves, and helped her fix the fuse. When the lights came back, Lily clapped her hands and said, "You're like a hero." Emily laughed, wiping her hands on her apron, but Alexander could see the tears she tried to hide. That night they talked for hours after Lily had gone to bed, about pain, loneliness, dreams, and what it meant to be truly seen by someone. Slowly love crept into their lives, not through grand gestures or luxury gifts, but through quiet moments of kindness. When Emily caught the flu and couldn't work, Alexander secretly paid her rent, pretending it was a community donation. When Lily had a school play, he sat in the back row, watching proudly like a father would. The single mom who once walked miles in the rain was now the center of his world, and he, the lonely CEO, had finally found the missing piece of his heart. But love, as life often proves, is never without tests. One morning, the tabloids exploded with headlines: "Billionaire CEO dating broke single mother." Company shares drop. His board members called it a disaster. They told him to end it immediately, to protect his image. Investors were furious. The world that once worshipped his success now questioned his judgment. He stood in his office, holding the newspaper, his heart heavy. When he met Emily that evening, she had already seen it. Her eyes were full of tears, not for herself, but for him. She whispered, "You don't have to choose me over your world. I understand." For the first time in his life, Alexander realized what truly mattered. He looked at her, this woman who had nothing, yet gave everything, and made his choice. The next day, he walked into a press conference and spoke from his heart. "They say love should be between equals," he said to the cameras, "but true love isn't about equality. It's about humanity. I was empty despite my billions, and she showed me what it means to live." The world watched as he stepped away from the podium, his voice steady and eyes clear. He didn't care about the backlash. He had found his truth. Months later, the storm faded. His company stabilized, his reputation survived, but more importantly, his heart had healed. Alexander and Emily built a quiet life together, one not defined by wealth but by warmth. He opened a small foundation for single mothers in Lily's name, offering education and job support. And every evening, as the city lights flickered outside their modest home, Alexander would sit beside Emily and read stories to Lily, stories about courage, hope, and how love can change even the coldest heart. He never forgot that first night, the rain, the blue dress, and the trembling smile that changed everything. It reminded him that the most beautiful things in life often come wrapped in simplicity. The lonely CEO had met not the model he expected, but the mother, the fighter, and the woman who stole his heart and gave him back his soul. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more real, emotional, and inspiring stories like this one to life.